Welcome to Ghostly.
Is the Red Lion Pub in Chicago haunted?
Ghostly is a podcast that comes out every other week. In each episode, we take a ghost story or paranormal event and look into its complete history. Rebecca then gives us evidence proving that the story is real, and my job is to debate those pieces of evidence and get you, the listener, prepared to vote on if it's real or not. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. And as always, we're your host. I'm Pat.
And I'm Rebecca.
Wow, that was a lot to say at one time.
You did it, though.
Yeah, I did. So we have some special guests.
We do. It's not just us today.
Yeah, so I'd like to welcome back Mondo.
Hello.
And Mondo brought his wife, Jeanne.
Hi there.
Hey, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeanne?
Well, I am called Halloween Jeanne, and I've been obsessed with Halloween since I was a kid. I do a music and horror magazine in this area called Haunted Emporium Magazine. And the magazine has been inspiration that I pulled from a lot of haunted house owners that I've worked with over the years. I love the design that goes into the haunted attraction industry and the creativeness. I also do a bit of writing, like children's books, and yeah, I dabble in everything. I'm a novice
writing,
medium.
Yeah. Write about musicians, but you definitely bring the Halloween cred.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're, really thankful that you guys are on the podcast today.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Especially because it's a Chicago episode and Mondo's our guy around Chicago. So we're going to be talking about the Red Lion Pub. The Red Lion Pub has only been there for 39 years.
Which actually does seem surprising.
It does, yeah, absolutely. I was really surprised when I found that out. It opened up in 1984. But it's got a long history before that. Mm-hmm. Although the history is not easy to get. I know what was there. I just don't know years and stuff like that. Okay. So
we'll hold it against you. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you would.
Well, can I mention, is this the place for me to mention, I have a personal connection to the Red Lion Pub because I went to college right by it. And I was there in the 90s, 2000 time frame in college and after. And I hung out there all the time. It was just like a place you'd go and, meet your friends, do my homework, right? I went to a lot of readings and people reading from their books or, shows. They would do those upstairs.
Where you have to snap your fingers?
No, not quite the beat poetry of the what was it, 50s, I guess. But it was a really great place, and it's been kind of redesigned and reopened, and we'll talk about that. But it's
so you
still
were
a cool
in the
place.
old Red Lion,
the original, the OG Red Lion.
It gets confusing, and we're going to try to make it less confusing. But also, we all went out to eat there last week. So, what was your thoughts when you were there?
Food was good.
Yeah,
I always rate the food.
Yeah,
you see any ghost?
I did not.
You didn't? What?
No.
Jeanne, what about you? What were your impressions?
It was super cozy. It was very intimate. The food was good, but I did not feel any energies there.
Yeah.
I was curious though, how the feel is to you, knowing that you went when it was the old building as opposed to the new.
Very different. Yeah, and we'll talk about why that is, but it's still cool. You know what I mean? It's still like a pub, but it's definitely a more modern, updated feel, which is probably for the best for the business. It's definitely become.
And I gotta say, there's books
place.
everywhere, and I read somewhere that those are all real books, but I don't believe it.
Well, or I just wonder, if you really looked at the titles, what would they be?
Or if you open it up, it's all blank pages or something.
That would be pretty hard. But the bar itself was built by the guy's father was actually one who was shot down in Britain.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. So, and I think the bar is the original bar. So that's at least something. But it's a great place. If you're in Chicago, it's in Lincoln Park, which is a really, fun neighborhood. There's a lot of stuff going on. And
it's right by the Biograph. So you can take in your Dillinger moment. If you haven't listened to our Dillinger episode, we talk about it in there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we remember we all went on the tour, right? Yeah. For that years ago. And I would just say it's like two haunted spots in one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is nice.
So this is usually the spot where we would do a shout out on Ghostly. There are 2 ways to get a shout out on Ghostly. The first way is to give us a review on Apple Podcast. You know, we always love those 5-star reviews, but you will see today that we are going to read any and all reviews that we receive. And the second way is to become a member on Patreon. Just go to ghostlypodcast.com and click on Patreon in the menu bar. We have a lot of different tiers for you to choose from. Yeah. So, Rebecca, we did get a review from Diesel. Yeah. It was a 4-star review, right? Mm-hmm. Do you want to read that?
Sure. The title of it is Yeah, But What If? And he says, Pat, that seems to be your favorite saying when she, I assume me, actually starts making sense of what's going on in a given situation.
Yeah, well,
that's kind of your job, though.
Yeah, I mean, that is my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. So I thank you for your review. I appreciate it. And I'm going to keep saying, yeah, but what if, though, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sure people appreciate it. I also just wanted to mention, definitely take a look at the Patreon. If you go to ghostlypodcast.com and click on Patreon, we've got ad-free episodes on there, and we have a live stream.
Yeah.
So you can come and be on a live recording for Ghostly X and share your thoughts.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun doing that.
A lot of fun stuff going
on. The last one we did was on Krampus.
Yep. So
or Krampus or
yes,
Krampus. I don't know.
Yeah, with Bob After Dark.
Yeah,
and who doesn't want to listen to more Bob After Dark? So, if you're not on Patreon, definitely check it out. All right, so I have an awesome listener mail.
Yeah,
and I'm excited. This is actually the reason we're doing the episode because we got this.
This is not the reason. We wanted to do this episode for a long time.
Doing it now. It was the inspiration.
When we first started Ghostly, we had some places in Chicago that we wanted to do an episode on. This is one of the last of those that we wanted to do the episode on.
Definitely been on the list, but this inspired me to be like, we need to do it now because I want to be able to read this. So this is a guy, John Wegley, who is a writer, and I was actually in one of his plays.
Oh, nice.
I forget, did you guys, I think you came to see the Nightshade that I was in. So this is, he wrote the play Down There, where I was like calling to like, there was like the guy who was like downstairs. There was like a monster. I don't know. Anyways, it was a few years ago, but it was really fun. I love doing it. And
that was a very fun show.
Yeah. So, and we'll be doing another one if you're in the Chicago area in February. I'm not going to be in it, but I did help select the plays for it.
And it's love themed.
It's love themed because it's February. Yeah. So dark love.
Nothing like love and murder.
Better.
You know?
And John, if you're listening, please know that I fought very hard for your play to be in, but we do have to spread the love around. So it just didn't happen. Okay, but here's what he wrote. Hi friends, I saw your post on Facebook asking for ghost stories, so I thought I'd send this. I used to do fiction readings at the Red Lion Pub, the most haunted bar in Chicago. My girlfriend would usually take pictures of me performing. In every photo, there's a white glowing blob on my shoulder. Usually, I was standing in front of windows that looked out on the patio, so we didn't think anything of it. It's just the glass reflecting her camera flash, right? But then we noticed the blob would show up anywhere and everywhere. The readings were taking place outside in the beer garden. A blob visits John. Inside against a blank wall, a blob visits John. Standing in front of the giant tree that grew through the deck with no flash on the camera, a blob visits John. This happened dozens of times over several years. Thanks.
Well,
John has a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, John. As I just want to say that we, always appreciate hearing your stories on here. And if you'd like to send us a story, you can email us at info@ghostlypodcast.com or use the contact us form on ghostlypodcast.com.
You know what? Can I comment on that one?
Yeah, 1 second though. There's one other way to do this is that you can actually send us a ghost story in the actual mail at P.O. Box number 264, Geneva, Illinois, 60134.
Yes.
All right, what were you going to say?
White blob on John's shoulder makes John uneasy.
Oh, we got a Mondo song immediately. I love it. That's the best
Wow.
part.
I hope you have a Red Lion one prepared.
I don't.
So.
I got nothing.
But just go with it. We gotta just see what you come up with.
Well, John was a big help. That was an awesome story.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. So for the polls.
Yeah.
Last time we talked about
the Moon River
Brewery.
Yes, we did. Unfortunately, we have to do these polls then, huh?
I guess. So, we got yes was 28.6.
Whoa.
And no 71.4.
Wow. I hope that's an indication of how this is going to be going here, though.
I feel like that was a really haunted place, but every floor had a different haunting story. But maybe that was too much for people. I don't know.
You never know. I mean, I personally didn't think it was haunted, though, just for the record. And the overall rating, though, for the episode was 2.56.
So pretty low.
Pretty low. Yeah, pretty low. I mean, it wasn't one of our big ones, I guess.
Yeah. So again, if you want to vote on this episode, please go to ghostlypodcast.com/polls.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
share what you think. Or if you're on Instagram, if you go to link in our bio, there'll be a quick link for you right there.
All right.
All right. So I have a ghost story.
Ooh.
It's time for a spooky tale from Rebecca.
All right. You might, I don't know, Jeannie, if you heard this story when we were there, but I think Mondo, you might have heard this a little bit. So, some of this you've heard. All right. Anyways, let's just get to it. Do you work in a haunted bar? I do. I didn't realize how often it would be something that would affect my work, but it's more than you might think. It's really just little things that happen. And if any of them happen on their own, I'd probably not think twice about it, but put them all together and it becomes a little harder to ignore. A small thing. I can no longer wear shoes with shoelaces to work. If I do, they become untied within minutes, and I spend my whole shift tying my shoes. They don't do this outside of work, mind you. Another thing that happens when we're serving upstairs, we get pushed and things get knocked out of our hands. Not a lot, not enough that you can't work, but enough that it seems just like it can't be a coincidence. But here's the story that really cemented it for me. I was in early, just cleaning up and getting ready for the place to open. I was expecting a delivery in an hour. The back door was open. I hear a loud knocking coming from the back. I yelled out to just come in because it's open. I figured the delivery was just early. No one came in. I heard the loud knocking again. Again, I yelled, "Come on in." No one. So I headed back there thinking maybe they just couldn't hear me. Maybe it wasn't the regular delivery guy. As I got closer to the door, I heard the knocking again. It was loud. So I was a little annoyed when I opened the door, thinking someone was just ignoring me. I was shocked when I opened the door and no one was there. Nothing was there. It wasn't that someone left the delivery outside or anything. There was no truck, nothing. The delivery guy did come when he was supposed to, and he confirmed that it was not him. I don't know what it was, but something was there. I hope it's not getting stronger.
All right. So I know where some of the story came from. This was the waitress told us this is what happened to the owner of the place. Right?
Well, no. Well, first of all, the shoes, right? We all heard the shoe story.
Yeah.
Right? With the shoelaces.
That was from the waitress.
The waitress,
yeah.
Right? And then, right, the owner, this was the host.
Yeah, the host,
yes.
Told us the story about the owner with the knocking.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to that and debate that.
No.
Not that, but if you want to debate the shoelaces.
What if yeah.
We're going to do that. Just save your what ifs.
I'm going to save them. I'm going to save them all up.
Nice.
And we're going to take a short break. And when we return, we're going to get to the history.
Facts. From a skeptic point of view. Facts. He presents it all to you. Facts.
All right. It's time for the Pat Facts.
Pat Facts.
All right. So John Cordwell was a native of London. He served in the British Royal Air Force and was a prisoner of war who participated in the failed Great Escape from a German war camp in 1944. After the war, he studied to be an architect, and that was in London. And then he worked in Minnesota before settling in Chicago. I did hear he was in Nigeria as well.
Oh, interesting.
But he settled in Chicago in the 1950s.
Okay.
He became a city planner in Chicago in the 60s. And John Cordwell was searching for a location to open an old-style English pub. And he wanted to stay in the Lincoln Park area in Chicago to open this pub. He felt as if he knew the people that lived there and what they would like in a pub.
Which, by the way, in the 60s, Lincoln Park was not what it was today.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, it was a little more rundown.
Yeah.
Right? It was a little, I mean, yeah. Like now it's like very expensive houses.
Absolutely, yeah. John looked at every building in the stretch of Lincoln Avenue north of Wrightwood, convinced he'd find the perfect spot. One location stood out, a 3-flat building, but as he examined it, doubts arose. The layout wouldn't work, and the foot traffic was meager. Not enough life, he declared, so he moved on. The search continued, leading John to another promising site, just not close enough. He was frustrated, and he found himself sipping coffee in a French bakery near the Biograph Theater early one morning. Glancing across the street, he saw a for sale sign hanging above a bar named Dirty Dan's Western Saloon.
I love that.
I do too, yeah. And it was a fitting description. Smoke-filled, rat-infested, and grime-encrusted.
With a spaghetti dinner.
Yeah, spaghetti dinners.
All you can eat, you said, right?
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yet, it possessed an undeniable charm to John.
All right.
Now, Dan Danforth, the owner, matched his saloon's ambiance. An aging, whiskey-soaked figure with a missing tooth. He lacked any redeemable qualities, yet something clicked between them. A deal was struck encompassing both the building and the business itself. Thus, the Red Lion Pub rose from the ashes of Dirty Dan's. The renovation of the former Dirty Dan's Western Salon took several months, revealing a hidden world beneath the grime. It seems the food at the Dirty Dan's was so notorious that even the rats succumbed to its dubious quality. The cleanup process unearthed a multitude of these unfortunate creatures, a testament to the building's previous state. Months of hard work accumulated in a remarkable transformation. Gone was the smoke-filled, rat-infested salon, replaced by a welcoming space reminiscent of a traditional English pub. On November 16th, 1984, the doors opened to the Red Lion's Pub, ready to welcome a new era.
Now, do you know, because I read that, for a while it was a 3-flat. So there were like actually apartments on the second and third floor.
Yes.
Do you know if during Dirty Dan's those were used as apartments or maybe it was before?
I believe it was prior to. I read a little bit about it too. They were saying at the time Dillinger would frequent there. It was apartments upstairs and I guess a market. He would grab an apple before.
I was going to say, I read that there was a grocery store.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that building was built, I believe, 9 years after the Chicago fire.
Oh,
yeah. It was 1882.
Okay.
It was built.
Yeah.
So, John Cordwell passed away, though, in February of 1999, and his son Colin took over the business even though there was other children and there was a lot of legal fights and stuff. The building that the Red Lion Pub and Dirty Dan's is in today was built in 1882. It was previously a fruit and vegetable store and a bookie joint.
Nice.
Yeah.
In 2008, the Red Lion closed down. 5 years later, the building was torn down and a new 1.5-story building was built. The Red Lion lives again.
There you go. Well, and I read a thing, it just was talking about that Colin, it's still owned by Colin.
Yeah,
he's the one that rebuilt it. And that it took him all that time to really get through the paperwork. Because again, when a building was built in 1882, they're not just going to let you tear that down. It was a lot of red tape for him to be able to tear that down and rebuild in that spot. So it took him all that time. Yeah.
But it feels like a newer building, although it has this old feel to it too. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
it is.
does.
It's weird.
I was surprised that it was a new building because inside it looks very old. And where we sat and were eating, and I remember looking up and looking at, they have windows for the loft area or second floor that look very old.
And I think those must be original. What I read was that he kept the bar and then the beams. Those are the original beams.
Oh, wow.
And I know that we're going to talk about the stained glass that his dad put in. And I'm guessing that's still there. Like, why would you get rid of that if you didn't have to?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, they fooled me.
Yeah, well, I will say that the outside of the place gives off a different vibe than the inside. It feels like it's closed. Like, it's very dark.
I will say, like, there was a moment when we pulled up
Yeah.
where we all of us were like, is this thing open?
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
have to be adventurous to.
Yeah.
enter.
But I mean, it pays off. I had some good shepherd pie there.
Yeah.
And root beer.
And we had poutine. Which was very good.
Poutine.
So,
Yeah, it was good.
yeah.
All right. Does anybody else have anything to add to the history?
There were 3 recorded deaths that happened at the original building.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Like, would you want to share what you do remember? I remember one was something with was there an epileptic seizure?
There was,
Okay.
Yes. And if I remember correctly, they were all family members.
Okay.
Not at the same time, but, they passed away periodically.
Yeah.
within-
When it was like a residence.
Yes.
Right. So it's not an assistant. Well, the one might have been at the bar. I can't remember.
It sounded
but-
like she was at the bar and she loved to wear a lot of lavender.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that one. But yeah, so there have been people that have died in the old building.
Yeah.
So then the question that we're going to have to wrestle with today is, can those spirits linger even though it's a different building?
And the answer is no.
Well, what if Dillinger, John Dillinger, that ate his apple? And, you figure if you want to live a long life and rob banks, you need to eat an apple a day.
I don't think any of these ghosts are reminiscent of Dillinger, though. Unfortunately, I've only saw a little bit about the ghost, but from what I've read,
there's
none of them.
there's no Dillinger.
Sorry,
But what if?
what if? What if there was a Dillinger there?
There could be lingering in the basement.
Yeah.
You never know.
All right, so we're going to take a short break, and then when we return, we're going to get to the debate. All right, we're back.
We're back. It's time for a debate.
It is.
There
It
you go.
is.
And I just was commenting to Mondo because I kind of forget sometimes that you've already heard Mondo's voice several times in this episode, both live and recorded.
Yeah, because Mondo does the Pat Fax music, and he does the music right before the ghost story.
Absolutely, Rebecca's ghost story. And the guys will say Pat Fax is just the most catchy tune ever. Anywhere we go live and we play that song, it's a hit.
That's awesome.
All right. So, now Jeannie was starting to talk about this. There's so many paranormal stories. This happens, right? There's so much to talk about, and I can't get to it all. It would just be this. We'd be here forever. So I picked what I thought was kind of fun to talk about. But if you want to learn more, there's a lot of great articles and things out there to read more. So as I mentioned, this is a pub that I went to a lot in college and even afterwards. Again, it's more restauranty now, but it used to be a great place to hang out. And I thought it was interesting that when we read the listener mail that John talked about doing readings there. totally possible that I heard him doing a reading there.
But I just want to ask you though, did you ever have any ghost experiences there?
So here's the thing. No. And the thing is, I would hear a lot of stories. So I'm going to start with the story that I heard a lot, not just from the people that worked there that would say yes, this happened to me, or hey, be careful. But also from people that I knew that claimed it happened to them, or that they knew someone that it happened to them. And this is one that is similar to a story that we read for Moon River Brewing in the last episode, which is why I wanted to do it, because it's kind of weird that it happened in both places, but it's about a ghost trapping women in the bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, this is something that I'm not sure if it happens anymore because of the new building. I'm guessing that the manifestation might be different now, but it happened at least in the old version of it. And it was the ladies' room on the second floor that you would sometimes get stuck. You actually could not get out of the bathroom. You could try as much as you want, but it wouldn't let you out. And it could be for 5 or 10 minutes before all of a sudden the door would open without a problem. And we don't know who the spirit is for this. So there's several possibilities. There was a
maybe
psychic.
Dillinger.
There was people assume it's a female spirit because there's a few female spirits that hang out there. There was a psychic named Mrs. Cordwell that did a reading there, and so she is the one that we kind of get a lot of our guesses as to who the spirits are. And
related to the owner.
That's true. I'm guessing it must be. Yeah. You're right. And then, so the one that she talked about was a woman wearing 1920s clothing. So sometimes that's speculated, or the Lavender Woman, which we'll talk about, is another possibility. But anyways, what do we think, Mondo and Jeannie, about these women getting trapped in the bathroom?
So you said it happened way back then, but not so much now.
I didn't necessarily find any new stories.
And I just want to say, technically, we are asking about right now.
We are.
Is the Red Lion?
Right.
That was the question.
That is the question.
Is the Red Lion haunted?
But these are things that happened a lot. So
here's the thing. You said since they tore it down, they may have moved doors around.
Right.
They might have reconfigured it. So just to cancel it out, maybe they put a broom closet where the women's washroom was.
There you go.
So,
what if?
Hey,
if they put a broom closet there?
Yeah, if the brooms get locked in there, they're not going to complain.
And if Dillinger's looking for the lady in red, he's not going to find her.
So what do you think, Pat?
I'm going to say no at all. This is just made up because people wanted to be haunted. Because it was a building that was around in 1882. So, and the old building was around for, over 100 years. So yeah, I'm just thinking they just wanted to be haunted.
This is of all of the stories. And again, it's hard because it is a different building now. So, it is what it is. But I just heard too many people tell me this story and have this happen to them, and people that I knew.
Really?
So I can't dismiss it as being something.
Well, I'm going to go
real.
0 on this one. So,
and I think if ghosts are disgruntled, because they can be, if something tragic happened, they can still exist on different planes.
Yeah. So for me, I would give it, I give this one an 8 just because I have to, because again, my personal experience. So that's probably higher than most people. I get that.
All right, Mondo, where are you at?
Well, she knew people that had this happen to them.
But again, we are talking about now too. Yeah. Not then. And we're talking about now.
Well, I guess I'll say though, for me though, if we can prove that there were spirits that exist at this property, that did exist at this property.
But the question is, though,
I know we're going to get to the modern ones, but in this question, all I'm asking is, do you think this did happen? And then I'm going to build my case.
I do not
build my case.
So Rebecca had me for then, but you have me for now.
So now and forever.
You gonna split it?
That's a lot to ask, Pat.
I'll give it a 4.
A 4. Okay.
Jeannie, how about you? Do you have a one?
I'm going to go with a 6 or 7 because I feel it's probable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Jeannie knows. Jeannie knows. All right. So this is interesting. I had not heard this story before, and it was just too good not to include. So in my research, the Red Lion was visited and explored by none other than the godfather of Chicago Paranormal, Richard G. Crowe.
T.
Richard T. Crowe. That's what I said.
You said G.
No, I said T. I may not have said it well.
Okay.
He is the OG, though. So maybe that's where that was in there. So in his book, Chicago's Street Guide to the Supernatural, he tells the story of hearing a blood-curdling scream coming from behind a locked door upstairs. Now, one report I read said it was the women's bathroom, but none of the others said that. So I think they might have just said that because they were kind of connecting the stories.
And why would it be locked too? So
right. So regardless of which room it was, no one could get in the room. In fact, I think it was more like a broom closet-y kind of room is what I understood from the story. But whatever. They were all investigating. They heard this horrible scream and they couldn't get in the room to see who was there. And it was so disturbing, they called the cops because they were like, somebody's in there. Like, this is horrible. When they broke open the door, no one there. Just supplies.
Wah, wah, wah.
But it kind of reminded me of the story that we heard. And again, we'll talk about that specific one later, of hearing something and then you go and there's nothing there. So, but what do we think about this? Richard Crowe, blood-curdling scream, goes to look, nothing there.
He is the OG.
He is, though.
And he's also Mr. T.
Jeannie, what do you think? Did you meet him? I can't remember.
Did not have the pleasure of meeting Mr. Crowe, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy a lot of his material. So I'd say about a 6.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think, Mondo?
Well, it came from him. The police were called.
Yeah.
Something happened.
Right.
Enough, to get somebody to make a phone call unless they were drunk. And, but I'll go with a 7.
Okay.
All right. So back then it was the 3-story building. And
yes.
If you look at the buildings around there were other 3-story buildings there. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking it was just something from another apartment that was like next to it. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So what was your score then?
Well, if I can come up with something that I feel is logical, I always go 0. So 0.
All right. Again, it's the what if.
I didn't say what if, though. But I'm just saying.
But it's a fair point. It's a fair point. I would say, but for me, I feel like, they would know that it's like, oh, I just heard a scream from this room. Like, sound can travel between buildings, but not necessarily that loud. I feel like you would know it was coming from next door. But I don't know. I wasn't there. So for me, it's a 7. Oh.
It brought up an interesting point. I was just wondering, maybe there was a vent in the bathroom,
could be,
that led down to the kitchen. Maybe somebody just dropped a plate of pasta on somebody or something, hot plate, and that person's like,
you would know about dropping pasta on people, Mondo.
Whatever do you mean?
Mondo's dropped a plate of pasta on me before.
Hey, it happens.
With the sauce or just
with the sauce? Oh yeah, all over.
Great.
I was wearing a white shirt too.
Yeah, he was the man in white. Then
Thanks, Mondo. Okay, 0. What did you say?
7.
7. Jeannie, what did you say? You
7.
said 7?
And I said 7.
There you go.
So, all right.
All right. So next one. So this is the one, Jeannie, I think that you mentioned. So one of the ghosts that's thought to haunt the pub is that of a young woman. Employees know when her spirit is present because they will notice the strong scent of lavender, which will suddenly appear. And here's the thing I will say about my research that was annoying with the woman that smell of lavender is they would a lot of the sources would call her a mentally challenged woman because she didn't know when to stop putting on the lavender perfume. And I'm like, okay, sometimes you just like to wear a lot of scent. It doesn't mean that you have like a low IQ because you're wearing too much lavender.
That's a weird mental illness too, just to keep putting perfume on.
Right. Like they had no other like stories about her to like indicate why they considered her. But anyways, but she, I think, was somebody that lived in the building. So again, that's the second floor is like where a lot of things happen. So again, she is blamed for a lot of the paranormal activity that's reported. So we talked about the bathroom, again, could be her. The other story is, that there's another story that I found. So this is Colin when he was like still the son, right? So John's son was working downstairs in the bar one night and he heard a terrible crash on the second floor. He went up the stairs to investigate and found a cricket bat that had been hanging on the wall as a display, had been thrown across the room. No one that was alive was around up there to have done it. Like there wasn't any, because again, they didn't always use the second floor. It wasn't always open for people. And I don't even know if they were open for business yet at that point. But, and again, I don't know that it was the Lavender Woman. There, there's not really specific stories associated with her, just that the smell. Okay. But who knows? Maybe she was upset one day because they keep calling her mentally challenged.
That's what I was thinking too. Maybe she's very angry still about that. I love her imagination, though.
Yeah, right? All right. So, Mondo, what do you think about the...
I'm going back to the vent. It was on this...
Well, no, but it was... They found the bat. Like, it was thrown.
Oh, the bat, yeah.
Well, the lavender.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you want to split it up?
You put a lot of things in this one thing.
I
so,
did.
okay, let's go with the lavender first.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm going back to the vent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That somebody probably watched him come in. They're on the first floor, and they're like, look who just came in. And then it's that guy that keeps calling people mentally challenged. So, you know what? I know what irritates them. They let him go upstairs. They go right to that vent and start pumping the lavender out. Next thing you know, he's gone. He complains and moans for a little bit, but then he hightails it out of there. But
no, well, let's go with that though. Like, so would you feel like that's paranormal to like have a scent that will be something people smell?
Yeah, and you know what, that first part was the joke part, but the second part is I always hear about lavender and smells and ghosts and stuff like that. So I'm sorry, man, but you got me again, Rebecca.
I know, right?
And then that cricket, that's for sure. They heard a crash. Listen,
go upstairs. It's flown across the room with no explanation.
Haunted.
Yeah. What do you think, Jeannie?
Well, I believe that she's family. So to me, if she passed away in that building, she is likely still there. And I love her love for flowers. She just wants to be surrounded and surround everybody else with that.
Why is she family?
I believe she's one of the 3 people documented who have passed away in that building.
Okay.
In the old building, I should say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she's not necessarily family with the Cordwells. She's family with somebody else.
That is correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
What do you think?
Okay, so I'm going to say that I used to know somebody that was a heavy smoker, a woman, a heavy smoker, but when she would come back in from smoking a cigarette, she would spray either rose or lavender scent on her.
Interesting.
Given the situation with that, people would have been smoking all in there, so it wouldn't have mattered. But I think it's like a perfumish kind of thing.
Interesting. So maybe they had a patron.
Maybe a patron, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and as I said, all it has to do is make some kind of logical sense to me to beat a ghost story. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm going to go.
So I feel like if that was the case, though, like they would recognize, like, oh, whenever so and so comes in, we smell the lavender.
And they might have and chose not to say that.
Interesting. Now, what do you think about the cricket bat?
Okay, so we want to go with the cricket bat then. So what do you think, Mondo? First.
So rating of the cricket.
No. Just like what are your thoughts on the rating? Comes later. So
yeah, no, the cricket bat. If nobody was up there, either somebody was playing a joke and threw it across the room, or, hey, man, it's on it, dude.
Okay.
Jeannie, what do you think about the cricket bat?
There's somebody angry upstairs, so.
Yeah.
There is a story.
And that is the question.
Yeah. I heard one.
Past.
Yeah. There is one story of like 2 guys that got into a bar fight, but I didn't necessarily put a lot of stock in that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for me, in order to be able to tell more about the cricket bat, I would need to know when it was put up, when it came down, and how well it was secured. Mm-hmm. Because like a truck coming by could lodge something off a wall if it's not secured properly. So I don't know exactly how secured it was. So I have no way of knowing then.
What's funny? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry about that. I was going to say too, it does make sense about the timing. Like, was it done at something super random, or was there a synchronicity behind the timing as well?
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, Pat, it reminds me, first of all, did you smell lavender when we were at Bluff City Cemetery?
Yes, I did.
So Pat has experienced the creepy lavender smell with no lavender sources around.
No.
And number two.
But it was springtime, though, I think. So.
No, it was fall because
was it fall?
was
Okay.
before Fringe.
Okay, yeah.
And then the other is the flying cricket bat reminds me of the flying cell phone at the Roth house.
We're going to still keep talking about this.
Different story. All right. So my rating for this is going to give it, I'm going to give it a 7. The lavender, that's always a little bit like, it's a smell. Like, yes, I don't know, but, haven't smelled it myself. But the cricket bat, man. Cricket bat. That
Cricket
seems pretty.
Batman.
Yeah.
He's a Batman.
Mondo, what do you think? What's your rating for this?
I think I'm also going to go with a 7. I'm with you on that. But I also have to question, once again, maybe it was the guy that smelled like lavender that was in there complaining. It's like, hey, somebody in here.
Smells like sweet lavender that I love so much.
It's you, man. It's you. But
Jeanne,
I'll go 7.
All right. Jeannie, how about you?
I'm going to go with an 8. I'm starting to wonder if this building has angrier ghosts, like poltergeist kind of activity.
Yeah. There's definitely stories of that. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to go 1 because I can't. I don't know enough information about the cricket bat.
Okay.
If I knew more information about the cricket bat, logically, I'm gonna say that it's probably like a truck went by and dislodged it from the wall.
Okay.
It wasn't secured well enough.
Gotcha. All right. Okay. So next story. So after renovating the second floor, John Cordwell, the first Red Lion owner, right? That's the guy who bought the building and did all that. And he took his time. Like, they didn't necessarily use the second floor right away. So that was something that he worked on while they were had the first floor open. And he put a beautiful stained glass window over the stairway to the second floor and had a memorial plaque underneath it. And I didn't look to see if that was still there, but my guess is it's something somewhere in the building still, just because it would be this would be his grandfather, the current owner. But anyways, he did.
No, it'd be the father.
Well, this is John we're talking about. So
so Colin was his son.
Right. So
Colin currently owns the place.
Right. So the current owner, this is his grandfather. This was a memorial to his grandfather. Gotcha. So I guess because he died in England and he has no headstone on his grave back in England. So they put this up as a memorial, who his father was an artist. So after doing this, there were some manifestations that started to happen. So basically, like John said, the owner at that time, Colin's dad, he felt that the window would be like something that would really make his dad happy because he had told John that he would come back and visit him after he died because the father believed there was a spirit world. So John Cordwell, when he was alive, his pianist and other people experienced a friendly tap on the shoulder when there was no one behind them. So there's 2 things. So that's 1. Maybe we'll stop there and then we'll talk about the second thing. So after they put that up, there were 2 things that people started to experience, one of them being this like mysterious tap on the shoulder. Has anyone experienced a mysterious tap on the shoulder before?
No.
And you turn around, no one's there?
No, there was always somebody hiding close by.
So what do we think? So multiple people reported this.
Sounds interesting. I would like to hear the next.
Yeah, we'll wait to do the ratings, I guess, until we do both of the stories.
I'm gonna say that I think this is all just people, because it's all people that were close to John, right? So I think it's I think we have a tough time with grieving. And I think it's their way of saying, hey, he's still around. Yeah. But I don't think he is.
Interesting. Okay. Well, the other thing is that John claims that his father suffered from dizziness near the end of his life. So this is back in England, right? And that because of that, he kind of like people in the pub would experience this. So when they would go by the stained glass window, all of a sudden they would have dizzy spells. So at the end of the upstairs bar, right by the stairs, is the exact spot where people have this like experience of dizziness. Now, again, this is back in the old building and I don't know. I haven't read anything to know if it still happens now, if it's still there. But.
So they would go up a flight of stairs and they get to the top and all of a sudden it's like, whoo!
Or be at the top of the stairs to come down and feel it. So
looking down, it's a long way down, man. It's room starts spinning.
And a bar, Yep.
Yeah.
So
and a possible angry ghost up there.
Then the stained glass might be getting light from outside, possibly.
It was because I guess he's claiming anyways it didn't happen before the stained glass was put in place. So
so it's getting light from outside, could be reflecting some crazy lights and
Well, I mean, we already talked about the white light that your friend John had experienced. So I think it's possible there is a lot of light coming in from the outside, even though it looks super dark on the outside. But also, John experiencing the dizziness could have been something that led to his demise.
Ooh.
Yeah, something that, was a symptom of his ultimate death, so.
Well, and again, I only read this in like one or two places, so I didn't want to put it in here, but John also claimed that, was it Dirty Dan? What was his name?
Dirty Dan.
Dirty Dan pushed him down, the angry spirit of Dirty Dan pushed him down the stairs once. But maybe it's
Dan's fourth.
There, I'm sorry. It's like, is this real? Is he real? But he was real.
No, it's not. None of this is real. It's all
well, the name, but maybe if he had like dizziness, maybe that's what caused him to fall down the stairs. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Not the previous owner.
Also, it could be very steep stairs. It could be that he was drinking.
They were old feeling stairs, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there's a lot of different possibilities. So as far as ratings go, I'm going to have to go a 0 on this one because logically these other things make more sense than anything else. So,
what do you think, Mondo?
I'm actually going to go pretty low too because of everything that I mentioned, you're at the top of the stairs. Yeah, people are drinking. There's light that could be coming in. There could be a lot of reasons that people were dizzy. So I'm going to go 6.
Okay. That's low.
No, actually, I'm just kidding. I'll probably just go with a 2.
Okay.
2, okay.
Jeannie, how about you?
I'm going to go with a 5. I'm not sure that I believe that people get dizzy by a ghost at the top of the stairs, but I do believe that, and I read another story that is not PG rated about John's father touching people after he has passed.
Oh, interesting.
And I kind of believe that if people are close enough with somebody after they pass, that they can experience, manifestations or touching. So the 5 goes towards those stories.
I'm with you on that too. I'm actually more inclined with the tapping, than the dizziness. So I'm going to go 5 as well.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We are getting close to the end, everybody. I promise. All right. So last one, a little bit more of a modern story. Again, we did talk about, we already talked about this in the ghost story. And so here it is. Time to talk about the host told us the story of the phantom knocking. Right. This is a story that the host claimed was told to him by Colin, the current owner in the current building, that he heard that knocking and there was no one there when he was waiting for a delivery. So I'm not going to read the story again. we remember. So what do we think about that story?
I would be pretty tripped out. That would be pretty freaky. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think, why would the owner share it with the people the employees, I mean, if it didn't happen or he didn't feel it happened, so that's pretty freaky. I think that's kind of believe it,
All right. Well, so what if? No, I'm just kidding. No, I think for some reason, when we asked the people there, we asked two people, the waitress, and she said she had no ghost stories, even though she said about the tying of the shoes thing. So that to me could be a lot of different things. I mean, I've had certain shoes that just come untied all the time. She did not say that it doesn't happen outside the place.
She did say that.
I did not hear her say that.
I heard her say that.
So I'm going to go with what I heard because I talked to her and she did not say that. But also, it's just kind of funny that the host didn't have anything, but everybody has stories that the owner told them. So I'm going to say that the owner has a vested interest in this. Keeping the Red Lion a haunted pub makes more traffic come in. So, Colin, I'm sorry.
So what's your rating then?
Oh, we're gonna go ratings right away.
Well, okay. I'm sorry. Did we skip you guys? What do you guys think?
I have a feeling I already know what his rating is.
No. That's okay. I'm sorry. Mondo? What do you think about this one?
He had me at he's right. The owner.
You said it was creepy. No, you did talk about it, right? You said it was creepy.
Yeah, both of them did say that, though. They were like, "Oh yeah, nothing happened to me, but check with the owner; he'll tell you all kinds of stuff."
Well, yes, but the woman did have her shoe story. Yes.
Which I don't think is much of a story, to tell you the truth. I mean, shoes come untied sometimes.
Or it could be a mischievous.
I think it could be a mischievous
or it could be no spirit at all. I mean, that's just what I'm going to go. So I'm going to go 0 on this one. So.
For me, I'm gonna say for this one, I'm gonna give it a 6. I feel like it seems similar to other stories that people tell, and definitely seems like there's, even though the building is different, there's still, I think, some spiritual energy that's hanging out there that could do some of these little things.
I agree too. I'm gonna go with a 7 on that one.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle, so I'll go 5.
Okay.
All right. So, what would be your overall rating then of this? So, overall, all the stories that you've heard today, and just the stories that you heard today, not like going into other things. I mean, this is the evidence that we have right in front of us. So, use that evidence to score something.
Okay. Who do you want to start with?
Let's go Mondo first.
Okay. I guess it's a 5.
Okay.
So.
You had some low, you had some high.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Jeannie?
I'm going to go with an 8.
An 8?
I believe that although there's slight probable cause, like maybe the owner was tired that night and jumping to conclusions, it's likely there's some spirits there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a 7.
7?
I'd like to do the 8, but I feel like I was a little lower on some things. So I do think I definitely think it was haunted. I think it is likely that there is still some stuff happening there, but I think it's less than it was because of the building change.
All right. I'm going to go 1 on this one because I gave 1. So, and we can't go point to anything. So I'm going to have to go 1 then, average it up.
All right.
So that brings us to the closing arguments. This is our last chance to convince you to vote our way. We are each given 1 minute of uninterrupted time. Rebecca is unfortunately going to time most of us here. But
and you don't have to use your whole time.
Yeah.
But you can't.
Your final thoughts. Final thoughts on what it is. So, who would like to go first?
I could go first.
All right.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
So is the Red Lion pub haunted? So I'm in the middle because you do have some things that came from the owner, and you have other interesting stories that have gone throughout the years, like the lavender and the what is the cricket things like that. So then the stained glass, there's quite a bit. I mean, usually it could just be down to like 1 or 2 different things, but this actually has quite a few stories, and then it had history before that where a lot of people died and different things happened. So I would have to say it's possible that it's haunted, but not definitely haunted.
Okay.
All right.
Just about time. Perfect.
Jeannie, you want to try going second here?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, am I...
I could time you.
Okay.
So, you ready?
Sure.
All right, go.
So the area itself, of course, is known for its dubious, its shady characters that existed. And a lot of people have likely died in that area, maybe even in that building. You know, if it was a bookie station, I'm sure that people crossed out others. And materials are said to transmit energy. So if the original beams were brought over in the same glass from the original building, it could be probable, you know, that some of the spirits' existence have come over. Maybe they just don't know that they need to leave now.
All right.
There you go.
All right. Rebecca, you ready?
I am ready.
All right. And go.
So I love having Jeannie here. It's been fantastic. And I thank you for saying that, because I think that's exactly where my mind has been, that no, you know, it is a different building. So you have to say that. However, there are things from the original building. Mondo was mentioning the glass. I know for sure that the beams and the bar are the same. You know, I read that from like an opening article for it. So I do think that it was absolutely super haunted when it was the original building. And I do think that there are some residual hauntings still happening today. Maybe more diminished, more kind of poltergeisty kind of stuff with like the knocking and the shoes and that kind of thing. But definitely still haunted.
All right.
All right. Are you ready, Mr. Patrick?
I am ready, yeah.
Okay, and go.
So all the evidence presented today was of the former location, except for one bit of evidence, and that was something that we all experienced by talking to the staff and hearing stories of the owner. These are stories that are coming from somebody else to somebody else, so we get that. Where it's not always going to be exactly as what actually happens. So, I don't know. And shoes untying doesn't seem like enough evidence to prove that there's a ghost. When we have to think about physics and science involved in this, so logic has to take some kind of precedent over our want and over our desire for ghost. That's all I'm saying, is that we want it to be haunted and it's not.
There you go. Well, you know what? Pat, you're standing strong today.
I am.
You have 3 people here.
But what if?
So, I'm sure your skeptics appreciate it.
Yeah. So I want to thank everyone so much for listening. Please share us with your friends and family, as word of mouth is our best advertisement. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. We do have some VIP patrons that we consider our producers, and we'd like to name them: Andrew,
Alicia,
Becky,
Kim,
Ta,
Ernie,
Cindy,
Kevin,
Nicole,
Jessica,
Alice,
Aaron,
Hope,
and Candy.
And on the next episode of Ghostly, we're going to be talking about something. This is going to be really cool.
I'm so excited.
We're going to be talking about Walt Disney himself.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Is his head still frozen someplace?
I don't know. We'll find out.
I don't know. Yeah. And we're going to find all that out right after Christmas on December 27th. For those that celebrate Christmas, but also it is the holiday spirit. It's the holiday times. It's Yule, it's Kwanzaa, it's Hanukkah, it's
the New Year.
The New Year. I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff. And for us skeptics, it's just winter.
turning of the
clocks.
The clocks. The sun is going to start visiting us more. There you go. Yes. There you go. Any last things? Thank you so much, Mondo and Jeannie, for being here. Anything you want to promote or share or talk
Mondo,
about?
what do you got going on?
Yeah, you're doing a lot of videos.
Actually, and some music too.
Yeah.
But how about a song? I recently wrote a song that I put on YouTube and iTunes called Resurrection Mary.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Perfect. We just did our Resurrection Revisited episode, which was fantastic with Anthony Claro. If you haven't listened, please listen, and then go listen to Mondo's song on YouTube, you said, right?
Yes.
Where can they find it on YouTube? What's it under?
Look, the name is Bella Cruella. Yeah, Bella Cruella. They're named after it's named after my cats. And it's Bella Cruella, Resurrection Mary.
Okay.
Nice.
Very good.
All right, Jeannie, what do you got going on?
I did the artwork for the single Resurrection Mary.
Nice.
Oh, awesome.
It's amazing, and it's pictured on there too.
Ooh.
Cool.
I am doing some additional artwork for some of Mondo's other musical projects.
Nice.
I am currently recording a podcast for the magazine, and we will release an issue of the magazine prior to Christmas.
Nice.
Cool. Awesome. So you said it's Haunted Emporium, Halloween Emporium. I'm sorry.
No,
Remind me.
no worries. HauntedEmporiumMagazine.com.
There you go. I don't know why I doubted myself there for a moment. I was like, wait a minute, because it's Halloween
It's a lot to
Jeanne,
say,
but then
yes.
it's Haunted Emporium. So
It used to be Halloween Jeanne, but it's quirky where people can forget about that.
All right. Well, until next time, stay ghostly.
Bye.
Bye.